Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Sophia with Garden State Film Festival, and we are talking about the short film Loved. Here to talk to us about it is the director and writer of the film, DJ Higgins, and the producer, Julie Robinson. Thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us. We're
Thank
both
you for having us. Yeah,
excited
for
about
sure.
it.
I'm really excited to talk about this film for many reasons. So before we get into it, DJ, can you do the honors of telling everybody a little bit about Loved?
Sure. The story really starts with the production. Julie and I have made 9 films together. I certainly would be lost on set without Julie. She does much more than just play the role of an EP. She knows story. She's a fantastic writer. We met in film school, and the first film we put together was called Meet Mario, where we ran across Joe Cernio, who just blew me away in terms of his acting, his professionalism. Joe loves making movies, loves being on set, and as with Loved, and in the independent world, not only is Joe acting, producing, but we're the last 2 people on set cleaning the actual RV. So Joe gives his heart and soul to projects, which I love from an actor. And he called me up last year and said, "Look, I want to challenge myself. Can you write me a role? You know my filmography that I haven't played yet," which I love. Seeing Matthew McConaughey make the transition into Dallas Buyers Club. This is music to my ears. Joe's saying, "Let me be challenged." So I sat down and I wrote a very dark script filled with metaphors. I asked the audience when they watched the movie to really dig deep into what we are challenging, institutions and what have you. And it's the story of Harold, a frustrated and crazed plumber driving around in Palm Springs, Joshua Tree, looking to avenge his wife's infidelities. But there's much more to the story than that. And really, the impetus and where all of the films that I've made have started, where I sent the script to Julie, and Julie calls me and says, "Hey, look, we got to make this." Joe read it. The script was really designed for him, and loved the idea. And then, as opposed to filming it in perhaps Pennsylvania or upstate New York, he said, "We really need to bring this to life. We're going to Joshua Tree," which in the film you see really provides a beautiful aesthetic. But it started with a team before anything, and that support, which gave me the confidence to say, "Well, let's go ahead and build this film with the correct pillars in place." And Julie and Joe certainly being those pillars that held the film together. At a certain point, we were without an RV, and it was Julie who found us one the day of, and that is the movie. So,
Oh my gosh. Awesome to hear you guys are longtime collaborators. I think films are so much better when there's wonderfully talented artists coming together, but especially when they know how each other works. You guys
Mhm.
just gel so smoothly. So, Julie, when DJ first told you about this film, what attracted you to it? Why did you want to tell this story?
The one thing about DJ, he's an amazing writer, and I think I can safely say that when he does he makes a script, he writes a script, he sends it to me first, and we always have this little thing like if he hears from me, he knows that it's spot on. But if it takes a minute for me to get back to him, then we might have a little issue there. But I immediately called him, and mind you, now we haven't done anything since the pandemic, so this is kind of like our first piece out the gate, post pandemic, and I called him immediately, and I was like, dude, this is the one. This is the one. It is just so, when you read it, it's there's a lot, of course, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of craziness going on, and it's like, wow, this piece is kind of, it's kind of scary, a little bit, but to literally make it, and to bring the story to life. We've never done anything like this, and it was just something that I felt, hey, this will take us in a different direction of our filmmaking. You know what I'm saying? And all the blood and gore and all the I mean, major talent in this one. Starting from Joe. Saying there's 3 people there, and Joe and Debbie and the other young man that we have. Um,
well,
Will, yes, playing the
Yeah,
part of.
Diane Raver's son, the
Oh,
founder of
yes,
Garden State Film Festival. I was like, oh my God, that's Will.
Yeah, well, he's really great, really, really great, and it's a forceful piece, and we're hoping that it was really. I'm really glad to hear that you loved it, and we're hoping that our audiences to come will really enjoy it as well.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy you touched on so many things that I want to ask you guys about. Starting off with the cast. I know that you worked with Joe before, who, yes, shout out to you, Joe, your performance. I wish you were here for me to ask you how it was like getting into that mindset. But talk to me about how you found the rest of the cast and put everybody together.
So,
Well,
I mean, essentially, one of the things that Julie and I always do, apart from being film partners, she's also one of my best friends. We love to eat well, and we bring, and Julie's excellent about remembering past casts, birthdays. There's much more than just a role that we're looking for. I mean, I do something very unorthodox, which is when we're holding audition, I ask the actor, did you like the script? You know, in film school, there's all of these rules. You're not supposed to do that, and this, that, and the other. Julie and I have never had any issues bending and creating our own rules. But one of the reasons that I think, especially in the independent world, you need an actor to be invested in the project is we shot the entire project in 2 days. You know, Julie and I made Pasquale's Magic Veal, which was a 22-page script. We shot it in 2 days. Nobody believed we could do it, including Danny Grimaldi from The Sopranos. And every time I see him, he still laughs. He said, you know, it's supposed to be a page a day. So when you have a group of people, especially Joe, who says, yeah, we can do it. You know, I'll work 24 hours straight. That is the integral backbone of a successful project. The moment somebody says, well, I didn't love it, you see that. So from there, we met Debbie, who was absolutely phenomenal, gave her heart and soul to the project. And then Will, you know, Joe said, I have this guy who would be perfect for the role. We looked at his headshots, and right when I met Will, I asked him a difficult question. I said, the script calls for you to be in a pair of underwear jumping out of a camper. Are you okay with that? And he's, yeah, sure. And I said, all right, great. And what was interesting about Will's performance, he's a diehard actor. I mean, he wanted to do as many takes on his own, and you're going to see in the film he throws himself out of the camper. He is a fearless actor, tremendously talented. Same can be said for Debbie. So the three of us came together and as always pieced together what we think will enhance the script. And I think the acting really speaks for itself in the project.
Absolutely does. So you guys shot this in 2 days? That
yeah.
is so tell me what filming was like in Joshua Tree. I know it gets really hot there. It's super big. Like, what was the filming process like for you guys?
Oh my gosh,
Julie?
it was. I thought it was very interesting for the simple fact that we were pretty much all together, with the exception of the crew. Like we had like an Airbnb, and we were so we had the ability to work together, to be together at night. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought that we weren't too far from the set out there in the desert, and granted the heat it definitely did its thing. I mean, we were toasty out there at times, and I was just sitting. These guys are riding around, continuously in the trailer, and it's like every time they would stop and come get water and stuff, you could just tell that they were just exhausted. But I mean, there's no better place to shoot than Joshua Tree. It is absolutely beautiful, absolutely desert
Breathtaking.
and all.
And,
Gorgeous.
and Joe really advocated for Troy Ruff, who was the DP and edited the film, and
Mhm.
he's just a rock star. And going back to, do you like the script? I don't think Julie and I have ever pulled a 10-hour shift. I mean, we made a film called Santino, which was the product of a grant from the Russo brothers and NIAF. And it was 22 pages, and we shot it in 19 hours. And I think, what a lot of people don't see in the independent world, Julie's playing 25 roles. It starts to rain. And at that point, I have to say, hey, Julie, we have kind of an emergency because the script does not call for rain. And that's where I always speak of the importance of family on set. Joe and I are friends apart from being filmmakers. So when he says, "Hey, look, you got to meet Troy, who's fantastic, but he's going to forego sleep for the good of the project," right? That's what I look for, especially in a team, and that involves a lot of trust in terms of what these people on set are expecting. If you're expecting a 9 to 5, that's not the way we run things. Overtime will be cut in, but you're in Joshua Tree and you're looking at these magnificent sunsets. So I remember pulling Troy aside and saying, "Hey, look, dude, we need this." And he's like, he's stressed out, but says, "You're right." And the question is, how do you adapt to, and when there's, the ending, there's that beautiful sunset that we all fought for, but everybody's running, right? There's complete chaos. It's a complete fiasco. And we pulled it off. And of course, celebrated with pizza and beer and wine, but there were no shortcuts taken in the project. It was an ambitious vision that Joe had. Joe took our script and said, well, we can make this top notch by flying out to a location where, Golden Hour is going to have a whole different, set a whole different parameter for the film.
So DJ, I know we talk about some of the films that you and Julie have worked on and you've done a lot in the past. What was different about directing this film, and what was really important for you as a director when it came to Loved?
People ask what are my favorite genres. I love directing comedies. Vinny Pastore was in, and Artie Pasquale, who's a dear friend, Danny Grimaldi, Joe D'Onofrio, Angie Muscat. They all came together to tell Pasquale's Magic Veal, which is a dark comedy. This was difficult because it is so dark. I'm being careful of spoiler alerts, but we've gone into the mind of a truly deranged individual. One of the issues that I have when I write a script is I am in every word until that script is executed and shot. So to think about something so dark for months can be psychologically tolling because you're trying to figure out the angles. Again, I ask, we're in an interesting stage of where art has arrived. I ask the audience to really look further than just the killings, let's say that to be vague, because really the film was designed to challenge the status quo, institutions, why we listen to certain people, laws, etc. I think if the audience watches the film and they just look at this as a deranged, jealous individual, they're really missing what I tried to bring to the script, which was something far deeper. How are people wired, and where does some of these perverse tendencies come from, but also who are we listening to in today's society? Why are we listening to them? And where have the true critics gone? I say this because I also teach film at Penn State, and I say to my students on a regular basis, debate is necessary. It's important to sit down with people that think differently than you and break bread with them, because that's where you learn. I think we've arrived at a very scary part in society where if you don't think like me and I don't think like you, we can't be friends. And that to me is scary, because art is supposed to be the great unifier. We don't get along, but we both love Goodfellas. So we could talk about Goodfellas and watch Goodfellas, right? And that unifies our friendship. So
Right.
At the risk of sounding redundant here, the film is really supposed to push people, which I think great art does. Great art should be provocative and say, why do we listen to certain people? Why do we listen to certain news channels? Are we channeling and challenging a sincere impulse into our subconscious, which is, I care about truth, and I care about being challenged and being wrong, and then reassessing where I'm coming from. So.
Thank you, DJ. And similar question for you, Julie, but we're wrapping up on like another minute. So what would you say the number one thing a good producer needs to have?
Oh, wow.
Big question, because I know a producer needs to do a lot of things, but
I know, the energy and the stamina, you know what I mean? There's always a lot to be done, and it never ends, and and to just and be a good problem solver. Oh my gosh, things are always coming up. Situations are always arising. Like DJ said, the whole thing with the trailer. You know what I'm saying? Like that, the trailer is like the one of the major characters in the movie. So to not be able to have that, what I'm saying, and the issues that we were going through with it was like, all right, Jules, put your hat on. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Get serious and let's tackle this and get it done because there is no movie without this trailer. But yeah, I would say those are pretty much the basics: the stamina, the energy. You know what I'm saying, and being a good
Right.
problem solver. And just loving your work, and that's kind of like what I do. I love making movies. Definitely with this dude.
I love that. I
And
mean,
with
it's
Joe,
been
it was really. I just want to say shout out to Joe because he was like he's an unbelievable gentleman, absolutely. And I know you know that you've been around him for a minute, but shout out to you, Joe, because he's the real deal. He's the real deal.
And I want to point out it's fantastic that Julie and I are on screen together because I think what a lot of people at times struggle to understand is making a movie is not only hard, but it involves family. So, Julie's one of the most loyal people I know. But, when you're putting in an 18-hour day, it's normal. I drink 6 cups of coffee to be agitated. And Julie and I, our friendship always echoes in our films because we love this. There's nothing else we'd rather be doing than making movies together. And that's where, I mean, this was our 9th project together. And I'm pretty intense. And Julia has a great sense of humor. But again, she's a brilliant writer. And she's doing much more than just producing, saying, well, maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that. So there's this term auteur is I think very complicated. I look at myself as being fortunate to constantly work with a great team, and I think you see that in Love. That we,
yeah.
with Joe, we really put together a phenomenal squad, and Troy Ruff, who shot the film, he really did a fantastic job.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, congratulations to everyone involved. Shout out to you, Joe, and everyone who is a part of making Loved. Let me tell the audiences how they can see it. It will be screening Saturday, March 25th at the Jersey Shore Art Center in the Palia Theater in the film block 8:30 to 10:45 p.m. So Saturday night, awesome night to come out and see Loved. Thank you both again so much and congratulations.
Thank you, Sophia, so
Thank
much as
you.
well. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Really
Thank you
appreciate it.
guys. I'll see you at the
All right.
festival.
Take care. Bye bye.